All right, good morning, eighth grade. Today we're going to finish this section for the most part and finish the video reference on 10.6. So this is a really cool graphic here or set of notes because it basically sums it all up. So we've now officially learned all the methods for solving a quadratic equation. So basically, when looking at a quadratic equation, now you have one, two, three, four, five different options to solve it. So that's a lot more than in chapter 9 when all we were doing was factoring. So let's go through the five different options. So when so factoring, that's the first thing we learned in chapter 9. You should do this when the quadratic equation can be factored easily. Graphing, use when approximate solutions are adequate. Yeah, I don't know if I would ever. Graphing is obviously, I think this is the hardest one. We took a long time to learn how to graph quadratics, and I think there's just so many better methods. But if I guess they just need a little estimate, maybe graphing is a good method. Finding square roots. Use this when solving an equation that can be written in the form x squared equals some d constant. So basically, I would add to this that if you see a quadratic equation and it has no bx term, then you can probably solve it with the with the square root method. Completing the square, okay, can be used for any quadratic equation that has the bx term, but is simplest to apply when a is equal to, remember when we did this, a always had to equal 1. And I think it works best when b is an even number. And last but not least, the grand finale, the best method of them all, because it works for everything, can be the quadratic formula. It can be used for any type of quadratic ever. So nothing wrong with that. So to finish these notes, I'm going to go through these example and checkpoints, and then maybe do one more quadratic formula for you to get you ready for the classwork today. So tell what method you would use to solve a quadratic equation. So we have two different quadratics. Let's start with part A. So if I'm looking at this, I definitely don't think graphing looks good. I do not look at it and say, I can't wait to use square roots because there's a bx term in there. So let's see, the quadratic equation, I don't think can easily, if I did the AC method, cannot be factored easily, and completing the square would result in many fractions. So yeah, if I did half of b and squared it, that's gonna be really disgusting. So I wouldn't do that. So the equation can be solved using, my first thought was just use the quadratic formula. Cool. So that's the answer there, quadratic formula. Part B, okay? I look at that and automatically say to myself, use the square root method because there's no bx term, so that's kind of an easier one if you ask me. So the quadratic equation can be solved using the square root method because the equation can be written in x squared minus equals d. So you just add 36 divided by 4 and you'd be on your way. Last example is this one. This one, checkpoint 3. Just noticing it, just the way they set it up for you. And like we said, when you do completing the square, if b is even, that really does help. And it's going to kind of just set it up for you to complete the square right away. So like, see how that's even. So you do half of 8, half of half of 8 squared. I'm getting my methods confused. Hold on 1 second. With completing the square, what am I thinking here? Yeah, you take b. Yeah, I thought it for some reason. Yeah, you just take b and divide it by 2 and square it. So you would take 4 squared and add 16 to both sides. So definitely this last example, I would choose complete the square. So for today's classwork, and I put it in a form, and the first 5 questions are going to be like, it's like a quiz form, so that way you know if you get it right or wrong. It's multiple choice, so you can kind of do it. So for today's classwork, you're doing 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11. That's weird. I feel like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I only put 5 questions on there, so you'll have to see which one I took out because I made each one worth about 20 points. So that's weird. And then I wanted you to just go down here and give your opinion on how to solve which method you'd use. And again, that's in multiple choice land. Let me quickly pull up. Which one did I take out? I must have forgot one. 1, 3, 5, 7. Oh, for some reason I just completely skipped over 9. Okay, so why don't we do that one together? Okay, I skipped over 9, so let's do that one as an example. Just because a lot of these are not going to come out to nice even numbers. So if I just do this quickly as an example, quadratic formula, we have x equals a negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So it's a little fuzzy. All right, so this one, I'm going to make my negative b. Negative 1 is 1 plus or minus square root negative 1 squared minus 4 times 4. What's my c value? Negative 20 all over 2 times 4, right? That's my a, yeah. So I get 1 plus or minus square root of 1. It's going to be 16 times 20, 320, right? Divided by 8. So then I get, so again, cleaning this up, 1 plus or minus the square root of 321 divided by 8. So if I go to the square root of 321, shouldn't be perfect, no, 17. Go to the nearest hundred, 17.92. So I'll write 1 plus or minus 17.92 all divided by 8. So when I do that, I'm going to do that on my calculator. 1 plus 17.92 divided by 8 comes out to about, let's say, 2.37. And then if I do 1 minus 17.92 divided by 8, we get negative 2.12 for my solutions. Let me check my answer book. I had my answer book somewhere, but I can't find it now. Oh, it's right here. Let me just double check that these are right, guys, and then you're off on your way. Sorry, I don't know why I took this one off. It's weird. Yeah, I completely skipped over it. Yeah, I got a little rounding difference. So I got in the book it's negative 2.11, 2.11, and 2.36. So I think I just the way I rounded, I was off by 100. So you'll have multiple choice, so you'll be good when you're doing today's classwork. Good luck today.